Alright guys, I hope everyone's doing fine today. The purpose of this video is to record how to solve some of the problems that you have been assigned so far in my curriculum assistance class. Okay? Alright, so before we begin, I want you to remember that for my class, it's not about getting all the questions correct, because I know some of you would rather Google the answer or have someone else give you the answer. That is not what curriculum assistance is for. I want for you to know how to solve the problem correctly. I want you to know the concepts behind it so you can be successful each and every time. So I would rather for you to get the problem wrong, listen to how to correctly solve it, than to go out and just, give me the answer. I do not just want the answer. I want to know that you know how to correctly solve the problem. Okay? And also, what other strategies can you use to successfully solve these problems and similar problems? So that is what you are to learn in curriculum assistance, especially when it comes to our math skills. Okay? Sometimes you might need to draw it out in order to figure out the answer. All right, so right now I am going to solve the following problem. According to your assignment, you have a problem that it will be problem number 3, and it is the following. What value of x solves the following proportion? So it may seem like I'm writing sideways, but I will turn the problem around so you may see it. So your proportion is 9 over 6 is equal to x over 8. This is a proportion. So what you need to remember about proportions is that the quantity on the left is going to be equal to the quantity or the amount on the right. They are proportional. Okay? They may look different, but they have the same value. So no matter what x is on this side, it is going to be equal to this amount, 9 over 6 on this side. Okay? So now, let's look. The best way of solving this problem, well, I'm going to say the best way. You may have another way, because there are several ways of approaching this problem. But I would suggest that you cross multiply. So I'm going to cross multiply. That's what I'm going to do. So I would say 9 times 8 will be equal to 6 times x. 9 times 8 will be equal to 6 times x. So whatever 9 times 8 is, it's going to be equal to 6 times our missing number. So x is our variable that is holding a spot for that missing number. So I do not want to know what 6 times x is, because I already know what it is. 6 times x is equal to 9 times 8, which is 72. So to find out what x is, I'm going to have to divide by 6, divide by 6. What I do on one side, I must also do to the other side. So if I divide by 6, that means that x, what we're looking for, is going to be equal to 6 divided by 72. So how many times will 6 go into 72? 6 will go into 7 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Find the difference. The difference between 6 and 7 is 1. We're going to bring down this 2. Now our number becomes 12. How many times will 6 go into 12? Well, 6 will go into 12 2 times with nothing remaining. 6 times 2 is 12. Nothing remaining. So x is equal to 12. So the proportion is 9 over 6 is equal to 12 over 8. And that's how you do number 3. All right. Our next problem has fractions. Our next problem has fractions. The next problem, number 4, says if 3/4 minus 2/3 plus 1/2 plus 1/3, if these two quantities is calculated, so we find out the answer, and the answer is then reduced to simplest terms, so we need the simplest terms. What is the denominator of the resulting fraction? So once you solve it, so you have to solve it first, then you need to reduce it, and then you need to, after you reduce it, then you need to state the denominator. So what is the denominator? It did not say what is the fraction. It says what is the denominator. So we know of a fraction, the top number is the numerator. The bottom number is the denominator. So your answer will be the denominator for this problem, okay? Now in the past, I've had students that they would tell me the fraction. Technically, I would give them credit for it, but if this problem was on an end of course test and one of the choices was, I'm just going to say 1/2, 1/2. One of the choices was 1/2 and the other one was 2. And you chose 1/2, your answer is technically incorrect because it wants to know, after you completed all of those steps, what number is in the denominator. 1/2 is not in the denominator. The number 2 is in the denominator. Okay? You have to be, even though you solved it correctly, the answer would be wrong because that is not what they asked you for. The same example would be if I was asking a reading comprehension question, and my question was, what day of the week did I go to the store? And the correct answer is, I went to the store on Friday. Okay? But you say in your response, I've got to go to the store on Friday to get eggs. Technically, you did not answer the question correctly because it did not ask you what did you get from the store. The question was, what day did you go to the store? Someone may say, oh, they're being nitpicky. Yeah, but you need to be careful. Read the question first. Read it thoroughly and see what is it asking you. So let's go ahead and continue solving the problem. All right, so we're working with fractions. Everyone loves fractions. Let's work with the first set. 3/4 minus 2/3. 3/4 minus 2/3. In order to solve this problem, I need to have equivalent or equal denominators. So let's make these denominators equivalent. Let's make these terms, these fractions, equivalent, okay? So looking at 4, looking at the number 3, what number do I know is divisible by both 4 and 3? Well, I know that 4 times 3 is 12, and I know that 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 3 is 12. 4, we're going to 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So that's the equivalency of 3/4. 3 will go into 12 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. And that is the equivalency of 2/3. Did I change it? Technically, no. I just made the fractions look a little bit differently so that I could work with the problem. So this was converted to these equivalent fractions. The next part is 1/2 plus 1/3. We're going to do the same exact thing for this unit as well. Well, I know that 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm going to use 6 as my denominator. 2, we're going to 6 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 3, we're going to 6 2 times. 2 times 1 is 2. So these are the equivalent fractions. Now, let's solve each part of the problem. So if I have 9/12 and I take away 8/12, the result would be 1/12. If I have 3/6 plus 2/6, the answer would be 5/6. Now, once again, we're going to have to do something similar to what we did before. Let's find common denominators. So since I know that 6 is a factor of 12, we're going to use 12 as our common denominator. 12 will go into 12 one time. 1 times 1 is 1, so that will remain the same. 6 will go into 12. 2 times 2 times 5 is 10. So this is equivalent to 10 over 12. Now we have same denominators. Now we can add 1/12 plus 10/12 is 11/12. Now, can we stop there? Technically, no. We're going to go back and look at what we were asked to do. Did we solve it? Yes. We did solve the problem. Yes. Did we reduce things? We made them equivalent fractions, so yes, we technically did. Now, it says state the denominator. Now, the fraction is 11/12. Going back to what I said previously, the answer would not be 11/12 because that is not what they're asking. They want to know what the denominator is. So the correct answer for number 4 would be 12. 12 is the correct and final answer. Any questions about number 4? Last but not least, number 5. Number 5 is a word problem. It says that Billy Brown went grocery shopping to buy meat for his annual office picnic. After his shopping spree, Billy bought, so that means that he purchased 7 3/4 pounds of hamburger. He also purchased 17.85 pounds of chicken, and he also purchased 6.5 pounds of steak. How many pounds of meat did Billy buy? Well, first of all, hamburger is meat, chicken is meat, and steak is meat. So we can add all those quantities together. The problem is that they are in different forms. You have one amount that's in decimal form, and you have the other two amounts that have whole numbers and fractions. We need to convert the quantities that have, what I would say, since the chicken is in like an odd decimal point, I would leave that in decimal form. And another reason why I would leave it in decimal form is because when you look at your answer choices, they are in decimal forms as well. I know that 0.25 would be 1/4. But then you have an answer that's that ends in 0.31. That is not going to be a very easy decimal to convert to a fraction. So that would be one hint, to leave that number in decimal form and then just convert the other quantities into decimals. Okay? So let's look back at the hamburger. 7.7 3/4. 3/4 is the same as saying 0.75. If you do not know this off the top of your head, you should know that this is you can convert it with a calculator. But you should know that 3/4 of something, 3 out of 4, is equal to 75 hundredths. 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. How many times will 4 go into 3? Well, it will go 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. Bring down that 0. How many times will 4 go into 30? 4 times 7 is 28. So I know it will go 7 times with a remainder. So that's 28. If I take the difference between 30 and 28, my answer would be 2. And then bring down that 0, that imaginary 0 there, that placeholder. How many times will 4 go into 20? It will go 5 times. So that is how you physically convert that fraction into a decimal. So that is 7.75 pounds. So we have our 17.85 pounds of chicken, and we all know that 1/2 is the same as 0.5 or 0.50. Since the other decimals are written to 2 places past the decimal, we're going to do that as well. So instead of writing 6.5, we're going to write 6.50. And now we're going to add. 5 plus 5 is 10. Write down my 0 and carry my 1. So you have 5 and 8. 5 and 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. Plus 7, because it's next. And that is 10, carry my 1. That makes that quantity 20. And then you have the extra 1 there. That makes that 21. Bring down your decimal. Carry your 2. You've got 7 plus 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 6. 6 and 4 is 10. Write my 0, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Don't forget the 2 that you carry, so you're going to add that to your amount, and that will make that 22. So you're going to write your 2 and you're going to carry over. So that would be nothing plus 1, that's 1, plus the 2, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 is 3. So your final answer would be 32.10 pounds. And that is how you find the answer for number 5. Now, I already solved 1 through 2. So I'm just going to do 2 real quickly because it covers the order of operations. Let me let you look at this at a different angle as well. For number 2, we're working with the order of operations. The problem is 54 minus 6 divided by 2 plus 6. And what does it equal? So you need to know either what I call PEMDAS, what you may call PEMDAS, but I also call it GEMDAS. And that the G stands for grouping symbols. When you're in high school, you need to remember that you're going to experience or be exposed to problems that have more than just parentheses. You may have absolute value. That is considered a grouping symbol. You may have information that is in brackets. You have to work from the inside out. Before you're able to do anything, you always do group what's in the grouping symbols first. Okay? So that's why I changed the P to the G for grouping symbols. So the first thing that I do with any problem, I make sure I follow my order of operations. What comes first, what comes second, what comes third. And you always work from left to right. That is why some of you get the incorrect answer, and then you say, well, that is the answer. No, you work from left to right. The way in which we read from left to right. So you're going to solve your problem from the left side to the right side. Okay, so let's look at our problem. Do we have any grouping symbols? And the answer is no. Do we have any exponents, or do we have any square roots that need to be simplified before we move on? And the answer is no. Do we have multiplication or division from left to right? So the first thing I see is, yes, I see that I have 6 divided by 2. That's the first thing that I am going to solve. 6 divided by 2. So that would be 54 minus, what is 6 divided by 2? The answer is 3. And then I'm just going to rewrite my problem as well. So now it becomes 54 minus 3 plus 6. Now I'm going to look again. Do I have additional items that need to be multiplied or divided? And the answer is no. So now I'm going to move on to addition or subtraction. Do I have addition? Do I have subtraction? And the answer is yes. Now, what order do I approach or solve the addition and subtraction? You solve it from left to right. What comes first? So here, I would solve 54 minus 3 first, not the negative 3 plus 9. Because that would be negative 3. It would be, because you're subtracting here. So I would subtract 3 from 54, and by doing so, the answer would be 51 plus 6. Do I have addition and additional subtraction? The answer is yes. And the answer would be 57. So your final answer is 57. Now, if I did this, I say to do it in order so you do not confuse yourselves. But if I have 54 minus 3 plus 6, if I did this first, I would need to know that that is not 3 plus 6. That would be 6 minus 3. And a lot of you have problems seeing that that is 6 minus 3. So my suggestion is to solve from left to right. That would help with some of that confusion. And also that when you have a problem that has like negative 3, change that to addition, because it is easier for people to add than it is to subtract, okay, in their heads. So I would change this to 54 plus negative 3, and that is equivalent to taking a minus 3. So that would be this right here, and then you would have the 6. So that would be 51 plus 6. That would be 51 plus 6, and you would still get the answer, which is 57. Okay? But always, 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 always solve your problems from left to right. Thank you.